So welcome. We have Julie Udelhoffen with us today. Julie is the food service director at Clear Lake Schools, and she's going to be sharing with us some of their local food procurement work, specifically some work that they've done recently around processing fresh corn. So take it away, Julie.
Thank you so much. So this project, actually, I had been dreaming of doing this, but never knew how we could find the time, how we could work it in. And then when they redid the school calendar, we have 5 days in the food service department we had to make up. So it's like, oh, opportunity calls. We actually started on this last year, working with Amy Jones with Iowa State University Extension Office because we needed an SOP. I wanted to make sure we were doing this safely. So we got Amy on board, and we actually started with a training last spring, gathering information, going over the receiving of the fresh fruits, preparing of the fresh fruits and vegetables, preparing fresh fruits and vegetables, and starting to write the SOP. Amy also brought in some folks from Iowa State University, and honestly, I'm not sure who that was at this point. Um, but we also listed out the equipment that we're going to need and brought our whole team in and talked about how it would look, how we would proceed with this. I talked with Teresa and Peter with the Iowa Food Hub to make sure we could get the corn. So we were able to get shucked corn because I had enough money we used HMI grant funds. We had enough money to buy the corn shucked, which was wonderful. That's one of those jobs I dearly hate. And we got it from Kearns, homegrown. We brought it in, and when we brought it in, we talked to Cerro Gordo Department of Health to make sure that it would be safe for us to bring it in and not refrigerate it because we felt that by refrigerating it, when it comes time to blanch it, it would take a longer time to get it up to temperature for that blanch time. We got 50 dozen. Since it was shucked, we did still need to clean it. So we started with our first row of sinks, cleaning it, silking it, breaking it in half because we wanted to do cabettes. And then those were passed over to the area ready to go into the kettle. We did run into a few issues in that the kettle that I chose to use, I didn't realize that it's hard to get it up to a boil. We have two kettles. I don't know if you could, yeah, you can see in the picture, there's two kettles. The other kettle would have been the right one to use. So it's a learning process, right? So it did take longer than we suspected, and we had it set up so that we would boil in one kettle and then we would slide it over to an ice bath in the second kettle. If we're so lucky to do this project again, of course, we'll flip-flop those kettles. So after the ice bath, then we put it in the strainers, drained them, and then set them on sheet pans with a piece of parchment paper. And isn't she a cutie? She's such a cutie. So there, it was easy enough to put them on the sheet pans, and then the tall rack, we just rolled right into the freezer. Left it overnight, then we had staff come in the next day to box it. I looked at Martin Brothers, and typically it was a 96 Cobbett case. So we were weighing it before we did it. Before we processed it, weighing after, found that 96 count Cobbetts it was consistent in about that 35, 40 pound. We ended up with, I want to say, 12 cases of 96. We have used almost all of them already. And I really think that's what we have. And do you have any questions?
Julie, when you put it into the box, did you shrink freeze them? Did you wrap them in plastic? Was there something else in the box other than just boxing them?
We put them in a plastic bag. We had
Yeah.
a heavier duty plastic bag, put them in there, and then closed it up and sealed the box.
And because they were frozen overnight, they didn't all
Stick
freeze together
together.
in a
Yes,
box,
exactly right. Yep. And that was one of the thoughts when we froze them on the sheet pan like that.
Well, Julia, this is Tom. I just wanted to say I'm really glad that was a successful event. When I worked at Iowa State Dining, I did a similar thing. We called it shucking good time. We had a whole bunch of cooks shuck a bunch of corn, and we processed them and cut them off the cob and bagged them and tagged them. And so I've been there, I've done it, and so I'm glad it was a successful experience for you. And yeah, that's great.
Hoping when we do it again that we can get the PTA involved, get more people involved, and do shuck it ourselves. So I like that, Tom. Thank you.
The shucking part went way quicker than they expected. If for what it's worth, for a future version, like they set up all these stations and yeah. So anyway, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie, did you break the ears in half or did you cut them?
We broke them. It really wasn't as bad, although you could see by Faith's face, she was struggling. And we had Wendy, who she's a smaller gal. We had her breaking the cobs at first. And as I watched, like, no, we need to trade. So we put someone else in there and put Wendy on a different job. So it does take a little bit of strength. Amy and I had talked about, I think it's like, we need a paper cutter or some tool. And we could not find a tool that existed for that purpose. And again, the snapping them by hand worked pretty well.
Yeah, right person for the right job.
Yes.
Some people have the knack to do that.
Julie, I think you should share a little bit about the Cornapalooza event that you held too, because that was so fun. The kids enjoyed that.
Sure. Marie, pop in anytime you have any thoughts. So we did this corn, and it's just like Iowa sweet corn. Who doesn't love Iowa sweet corn? And so last year we had some third graders shuck a few ears of corn for us and found out that some of the kids had never done that. So, okay, we're gonna make this a day. So we went up to the middle school. We brought in sweet corn that they could shuck. Marie brought her costumes, vegetable costumes. We did Mexican street corn taste testing. And what was that it, Marie? I can't remember. And then we handed out corn stickers. But it just
Tattoos. Julie found the cutest corn tattoos. So after the kids tried on the
that's
costume
right. Yeah,
photos
that's right.
and shucked corn, they got tattoos because the custodians do not appreciate stickers.
Stickers. No, no. And I was so pleasantly shocked. I looked at those costumes and thought, there's no way that those kids are going to try those costumes on.
They held this day at the middle school, and we found with the taste test doing them elementary, middle, and high school that those middle schoolers are so willing to try anything we throw at them, and that they really get in there and have fun. And Tom, like you were saying, the shucking can go pretty quickly, and we had a huge bag of corn for them to try shucking, and the kids would go after it and they're like, well, I've done four, can I keep going? And they're just plowing through that corn. And so yeah, if there was a way that we could get it organized, that we could get everybody to bring their kids in for a while to come and shuck corn, I definitely think it would be really quick and efficient. And they did a great job. And again, there were some that had never done it before, and some that, oh, I do this all the time, I know what I'm doing. So they just had a blast.
There are a couple of questions in the chat, Julie. Did the farmer offer to shuck the corn, and how much extra did that cost you?
Oh, Teresa, I bet you can tell me how much. Was it $1 a dozen?
Yeah. So not every farmer is going to want to shuck the corn for you. So, Julie actually has a really great local farmer, but they don't offer shucking. So we went with the one that provides, he machine picks all of his sweet corn, and then his crew shucked it for him. The thing to remember about getting shucked corn is that it shortens your shelf life. You need to use it within 7 days versus if you leave it in the husk, you can keep it for 2 or 3 weeks. So that's another thing that you have to factor in when doing that sort of project. But yeah, that farmer charges an extra $1 per dozen.
Which, when you look at the amount of work it is, I thought that was wonderful. So the kiddos, as far as the corn on the cob, the kids in the elementary, those with teeth like it. The middle schooler, they're good. In the high school, The only thing I can guess is that they don't want that corn in their teeth because they don't take it nearly as well as everyone else, which high school, they're an oddity.
It might be a braces thing too, because dentists don't really like them eating corn
Oh,
off
for
the corn
sure.
cob because it can break the metal.
So that's all I had. Any other questions?
So great. Thank you
Okay.
so,
Okay.
so
Well, thanks
much,
for having
Julie.
me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for being here. Julie is one of 4 food service directors participating in a scratch cooking and local food procurement cohort that we are hosting through a national plants grant. And yeah, Julie, the expertise and the experimentation and just all the stories and insight that you have to share is really, really valuable to the work that so many schools are doing. So thank you so much for sharing with us.